Guyanese culture to me is just, it's not represented anywhere. We don't have a voice. We don't have anything on TV or just anything to really show how, how much fun it is and how cultural it is and how traditional it is. So yes, and yes, and yes, yes, 1,000 times. I would love to go to Carabana. I've never been. Love to go to Carnival there and would love to film it. Would love to film anything, related to that, definitely in TV.
Yeah, I think like the Indo-Caribbean and the Indo-Guyanese experience as well is just not represented on TV. And that's what, like, when we watched that episode of your dad having like the Guyanese cook-off for all your friends and family, legitimately like tears because it was
I
just
love it.
so emotional. And I'm like, am I really crying at this? But I was like, wow, it felt, I'm dramatic. It felt monumental. I was like, holy, this is on Bravo NBC, like crazy. I loved it.
No, that means so much to me too. And I mean, it was even something that, we it's not even that we like kind of talk to production with or anything like that. It's just this is how we eat. This is what we eat. We eat, chicken curry, baigan choka, roti, dal, the whole thing. So, and like goat curry, whatever it is. So they're like, oh well, let's get this captured. This is a beautiful moment, and I'm just glad that you kind of felt that same sort of love that I was trying to put out there in, representation. So definitely.
Yeah, of course. And then like I went on Twitter right away. I was like, what are other people saying? And everyone was so excited. I was like, wow, this is super cool. And your mom is super like supportive. And I see like on your stories that like she's the one that's like really doing the Guyanese cooking too.
Oh,
And I'm like,
she,
oh yeah,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
got it. I could tell.
It's crazy for my mom, obviously born in India, married my dad who was born in Guyana. She's like she loves cooking. She's an avid chef. She just enjoys food, but I mean, she just mastered these recipes, and yeah, that's our only way of eating Guyanese food. But unless it's like auntie and uncle is sending us, pumpkin or whatever it
Yeah,
is. But why I say pumpkin, you know what I mean? But
I love
that's
pumpkin.
you do?
Do you not
Okay.
like
Me
it?
too.
It's so
No,
good.
I do. I do that. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, I don't know why I said pumpkin, but yeah.
No, because it's good. Let me
Yeah.
introduce you properly because I'm so excited that you're here. For anyone who's watching, Brian is one of the stars of Bravo's hit TV series Family Karma. And you just aired your season 3 finale this week. We have a ton of questions for you. Obviously, we've already gotten into it a little bit. I want to know a little bit of sort of the backstory. How did you guys come together on this cast? I saw Vishal and Amrit on Watch What Happens Live saying they're arranged friends. Give me a little bit more about how the cast came together in the show.
Definitely. No, I appreciate the introduction, of course. And yeah, it's similar to Arranged Friends, but just to go into more detail, it just started with, a couple of us. I think it was really Anisha Vishal who kind of like really kicked it off, but they kind of rounded us together because we are a group of friends, and said, hey, listen, there's a production company that wants to kind of work with you guys, and you are all friends, and you guys all have known each other for so long, and we want to kind of show off the culture. And I'm like, oh, showing off the culture, sign me up. So it was more so those two, and then the rest of the gang that just really came in and started contributing and calling each other to like, hey, do you want to all kind of do this whole journey and see where it goes. And we had no idea where it would go and what it would do as far as representation or showing off, even Indian culture. Then, of course, me coming in as, Indo-Caribbean, right? Showing both sides. And we just had no idea. And it kind of got brought together by really, those originators. And then, here we are now.
Cool. I mean, just like brown people to do it like with a bigger and bigger and bigger group. It's like call everybody you know. We're going to be on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was literally, it's just, yeah, hey, are you down? Yeah, are you down? Yeah. And then here we are.
You guys have a really unique relationship with the crew from all the Bravo shows that I watch. You break the fourth wall constantly. They're like in your confessionals talking to you. They've also said that they have like a really special relationship with you guys What do you attribute that to?
Interesting, great question. Actually, I haven't even thought about it. I think everybody, especially in our group, and even just meeting a lot of people at BravoCon, and people on Bravo in general, it's just we really are just a group of very close friends, and we're all very down to earth, very just kind of humble. It's just more so honored to be a part of this massive networking community. So, I mean, I just attribute it to just us being, I guess, very chill, very very open to whatever kind of this whole thing throws at us, and then kind of rolling with it. And I just think also it's really easy to meet a lot of people in this Bravo universe, and everyone also has like a very similar energy, whether that's people who's been on for like 15 seasons or whatever, like different housewives or OG people like the Vanderpump, like I don't know, you name it, who have been
Yeah.
around so long. I think they also have that same energy of, you know, very, I guess, very open and loving and willing to communicate and like, hey, welcome, pretty much welcome aboard. Let me kind of show you around, let me introduce you to some folks. And it's cool to see people like that are, such, to me, like just icons, famous people in reality, to be so open with, newbies like myself and some other folks in the cast. It's synergistic, kind of both sides.
Yeah, and I actually was going to ask you about like your relationships within the Bravo universe, I guess so to speak.
Yeah.
I was also at BravoCon. Didn't get a chance to meet
Were
you.
you?
I ran into Umra and Nicholas. I actually asked about you. Um, and I think that day
I'm
he said it was
I'm
your birthday.
jealous that you. Yeah. Wait. This was
The first day, I
shit. Was
think.
okay. Yeah. Friday the 14th, October 14th.
Yeah, so I took a picture with them. I was like, "Oh, is Brian here?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's somewhere." And then I think after that first day, like BravoCon went from like chill running into people to like mayhem, and I was like, "Okay, this is crazy." Like I'm in a mob for Kathy Hilton. It was insane. I hadn't eaten for like I felt like 3 days. I was like, "All right."
She's awesome. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were you were backstage or you were at that hotel when everything went down with Joe Gorga and Jennifer Aiden. I was going to save
Oh
this for
shit.
later. What was that like? I mean, like, talk about like mixed worlds. I was looking at that video. I'm like, wait, who is that in the back? I'm like, what is going on here?
Okay. This is an exclusive, by the way. I have. All right. Let me sit up for this one. Let me sit up for this one. I have
The
not.
tea.
I have not publicly spoken about this at all. Um, I refuse to go on Instagram Live because a lot of people would just ask me and I would ignore it. Twitter, I ignore it. I just like don't. But I'm going to give it to you, Felicia. So, yeah. So at BravoCon, obviously I'm already laughing. So if you could tell by some of the
Yeah,
images
it's
and videos,
ridiculous.
right? Like I'm giggling and everyone's attacking me and stuff like, why would you laugh when this situation is going down? It's, disrespectful. Okay, so just put yourself in my position. It's my first time BravoCon meeting all of these mega icons that have been in the industry for so long. Myself, Melissa, and Joe, we actually, hung out. We were hanging out the whole time at BravoCon. Like I was behind them in line and for different photos and stuff like that. And they were super kind and welcoming and warm to me. And it was honoring, just for people like that who have been in the game, like I said, for so long. Long story short, we're all staying in the same hotel. Everybody. Maybe some other folks stayed every like in other hotels. I get back to the hotel, me and my brother, couple it's my birthday, so couple drinks in, not a couple, maybe 10 drinks in, I'm pretty hammered. Walking into the lobby and I'm just shooting the shit with Joe. Have just talking shit, we were talking about comedy actually, because I'm kind of jumping into stand-up comedy. He's been doing stand-up comedy, so I was just getting advice from him.
Right.
And that's it. And we were just sitting there. I just started hearing two people. It was Jennifer, I think, and Melissa, like kind of just jawing at each other, but I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to Joe. And then somehow Joe got into it, and it just happened so fast. And I'm like standing there, and I'm like, wait, is this? I thought this was fake. Like I thought they were just kidding, you know? So I'm giggling because I thought it was a joke. And I also think fights are funny, personally. That's literally how I think. So I'm like, oh shit, it's going down, you know? And I'm talking to my brother. I'm like, this isn't real. And he's like, he's actually sitting over there. But yeah, long story short, it started heating up, and then I'm like, oh, it's going down. This is actually, a real problem. And I just remember I don't really remember what words were said exactly. I just remember kind of going in and trying to like, hey, come on, guys, let's all get along, No, no big deal. I don't even know who Jennifer Aiden is, and I'm sure she's an extremely awesome person. I have no dog
Yeah.
in this fight. I'm just wrong
Yeah.
place, wrong time in the lobby. What the hell, that sort of thing. So it was that. It was literally that. It was just me kind of like looking awkwardly. Like in school when the teacher yells at you and you just giggle.
Yeah. No,
Has that?
you could read that energy was like coming off the screen. Like I was like, look at him and his brother. Like they are like, what is going on? This is BravoCon. Like it's just, I can see the vantage point that you're like looking at it from. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's all it was. I wasn't like there was no sides. I had no idea. I didn't. I was like, damn, is this how the Real Housewives work? Like it just kind of goes down, it goes in like that. But no, I was just chilling, and then everything
Yeah.
happened. So yeah, and then when I was looking at Twitter and I was looking at what a lot of people were saying, everyone's like, Brian, you weren't raised right. Look at you
What are you
laughing at a
supposed to
woman
do?
getting berated. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I was confused. I was drunk, literally. Just
Yeah.
blame it on me. Just standing there. Just I don't even know if I had a drink in my hand. I must have just taken a shot of tequila, something.
Yeah, I
But
know. It was an insane situation. No one can say the housewives are fake because that stuff is happening all the time with them.
I witnessed it. It was just
Yeah.
like no. There's nothing fake about the housewives. That is some like real shit.
No, seriously. Let's shift gears. You mentioned your family and your mom and dad meeting. I really wanted to like really dig into how did your parents meet being from two different backgrounds, albeit similar? And what has that been like for them? Have they encountered, any challenges, obviously blending the two cultures?
Of course. By the way, again, amazing questions. This is I love that you asked this. I actually want to write a book about how they met. It's a very
Oh, you should.
extremely long story. It's like very Romeo and Juliet esque, like forbidden love, so to speak. And I only say that because my mom is Indian Gujarati, born in India, Chalgam from a caste, and my dad Indian as well, born in Guyana, but very much so Indian. So when I say forbidden love, it's not caste to caste. It's not Guju to Guju. It's not like the same caste system. It's not the same areas of India. You can't trace certain ancestors back. So they met in college, and they both met in Jersey. They went to St. Peter's College. They were both computer science majors. And my dad saw her in class one day and was like, "That's the girl I want." And he like paid the kid off who had his locker next to my mom to just be next to my mom every day. And that's
Oh,
how it started progressing. Yeah,
that is so
it's
cute.
real. Yeah, it's some real. This was back in the day when there were records, right? So he would write down like lyrics to records and different songs and like stick it in her locker as like love notes to her.
That
Corny
is so
shit,
cute. Oh my god, I have to know like
cute.
what one of the songs were. That is really cute.
Yeah, I mean, damn, what were one of the songs? UB40, Red Red Wine. Is that? Oh, yeah, and then he would write his own poems. Like he would say, "Drink hot water, drink hot tea, burn your lips, and think of me." It's stuff like it was just stuff like this is the stuff they tell me, and I'm like,
That's
that
so
works.
funny.
I'm like, that worked for you, mom? And she's like, I don't know. I was head over heels for him.
Your
Um,
mom has a good sense of humor. She has like really good energy on the show. I feel like it would work for her. She'd be like, "This guy is great. That is so funny."
yeah. Yeah, and then fast forward, they were dating, but it was secret, right? They didn't. No one knew they were dating. When my ba and dada on my mom's side, my mom's parents, they would meet my dad. They thought it was just like my mom's friend. He would actually help out in the house, like help hang pictures and paint and do like handiwork for them. And they like thought he was like a worker. Like they didn't know that. Obviously, that was his way of trying to like get in to the family.
Yeah.
And one day he like told my mom, and my mom told her parents, and they were, no way, you're not going to marry this guy. We don't, he's not from India. He's not this similar sort of cast and what it is. And he fought, and he ended up eloping with her secretly, secret wedding. They went and got married by the judge. No one knew. It was low key. And then, just as my mom suspected, they sent her to India to get blessings from my my dada's older brother. And of course, it worked as what my dad thought. They got, it was rejected, and they were like, let's try to figure something else out. But too bad, she's already married. So she came back, was crying, it's not going to work. He's like, we're not going to do this. One day they were at temple, my mom's parents, my dad with one of my shami chacho, they went into their house and like packed up all my mom's clothes and like hid it in the car and sat there with an empty house and like sat there and waited for my bandada to come back. Long story short, they weren't accepted for about maybe 3 weeks, and my mom moved in with my dad's family. And 3 weeks later, my dada kind of like spoke with his other family members, and they're like, "Listen, this is true love. Your daughter's in love. This is something that you could only dream for." And by the way, Guyanese people are, it obviously I've learned this myself. You're like Aberindian or Indian, but at least from the Indian side of Guyanese culture, they're more Indian from a lot of aspects than some Indians really are. So it's like this guy is Indian. He's just born in. It's the same. It's he just brings a little bit more flair. It's Caribbean. It's a little bit more pizzazz, a little more fun, and it was love after that. And it's been a beautiful ride ever since. Everyone's very close now.
That's amazing. And I do recall like your mom distinctly said on the show, I think it was the same episode with the food, Guyanese people are Indian. And just
Yes.
like, again, I think it all kind of came together. Just that one sentence like gave so much validation to us because as a diaspora community, we're so displaced sometimes and we feel so disconnected. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of, Indo-Guyanese people have gone through periods of rejection, whether it's with friends or relationships over time with like in their Indian counterparts. And we've kind of felt that. So, I mean, it's good to hear that like they fought for it and like, yeah, it's just they were in love. Like, and it's always, so much better when you just let people be happy and that's amazing to hear. I love that.
Exactly, exactly. And actually, to your point, I mean, I grew up with that, and I'm sure you did too. And actually, all my Guyanese family and friends have all grown up with that, right? I'll even meet people that's like, oh, he's half Indian. It's like, no, bitch, I'm full Indian. I'm Guyanese. You learn about it, Google it, read about it. But sometimes we don't get the validation. We don't get we kind of get this half-ass sort of like, oh, you're not full Indian yet. Yeah, we are. And quite frankly, we keep the culture. Actually, Guyanese people in Guyana, I think they keep the culture even more so than like Indians in India because in India, it's like progressing, just like Bollywood has progressed from the Kuch Kuch Hota Hai days now to like, what Bollywood is today. But I feel like Guyanese people, we, chutney music, we play old school, you know, to this day, like old school Bollywood songs and like Sholay and stuff like, from
Mhm.
way back then. It's something that I think we do very well as far as just keeping this old school, like very traditional culture as a part of kind of how we celebrate it.
I agree. I think that there's an importance to like hold on to history and culture as well in the Caribbean
Right.
because, you feel like the need to. It almost feels like a necessity. And Story is part of the Indo-Caribbean Canadian Association, and overall, ICA does a great job of like preserving historical content, presenting it. It's really like so interesting too to see like how people have managed to hold on to their culture, while losing the majority of the language like through different generations. So
Yeah, right.
yeah, I agree.
Well,
What kinds of conversations have you had with fans who watch Family Karma? Because, like I mentioned, like when you go onto Twitter, the conversation is so positive about how people feel about the show, how people felt about this finale. Have you had some? I'm imagining some great conversations with people.
yeah, yeah. I mean, kind of like I said, this whole ride is very surreal, and it's very flattering just when I mean that it's weird to say fans, but when people come up and hey, love the show, love this aspect of it, love this conversation you had, or I can relate to this sort of experience you had, or something about your culture. I mean, for me, it's still very surreal, so flattering when people. I always say just people give a shit about me. It's crazy, or just give a shit about what we're doing, and I think it's truly awesome. But I've had some amazing conversations. Just being happy, like we just talked about, like being sort of a microphone for Indian culture, Guyanese culture, representing, kind of just talking about, different things I've been through from a relationship perspective and dating wise and living at home and moving out and, and then, even more so just, I guess, growing up and, trying to own that. So it's, you definitely get the questions of some prying questions of, who are you dating now? What are you up to now? I mean, are you kidding me? You really don't know how to do the dishes? And I'm like, come on. Yeah, I know how to do the dishes. Give me a break here.
Let me just
But,
erase that
and
question
then
from my list.
uh, I do. I know how to do laundry. I know how to do the dishes. I just sometimes I don't choose to because my mom, when I'm at home, she's like, hey, I'll do your laundry. I'm like, no problem. Fold it up. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll help you fold. It's like that. But yeah, I those are fun. And then of course getting deeper into it when people talk about like, I've had some emotional conversations of like, man, it's helped me relate to you, or it's helped me get over some vulnerabilities or some situations that I've been afraid of, and that's the stuff that really hits me deep because when people find inspiration from my story or anyone else's story on the show, it's like, wow, we're making a change. We're affecting people's lives. This is incredible.
No, the show really is like revolutionary. I think it's changing the landscape for like, Asian, South Asian, and of course, like Indo Caribbean representation on mainstream TV. And you can definitely see like the positive response, even from other like ethnic groups. They're so happy, like for us when they see it. And like, I
Yes.
love that. It's really great.
Yeah, no, that's very spot on too. I mean, different cultures. You're so right. I didn't even really put that together, but yeah, it's we're global, so it's all around the world, different ethnic groups. I'll get DMs from Africa or like New Zealand or Australia, and I don't know, just people relating, and I'm like, wow, this is insane.
Yeah. And my friends who do Bravo While Black in Miami, Kaya and
I
Aaron,
love
we love
those. I love those.
you.
They're amazing. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bravo All Black. Yeah.
Talking about like the show and like how people can relate to it, there's a huge focus, I think, on your show and as well in our real lives on marriage. And I think people, you guys are presenting it in 100% real way. But I also think that people, like for me watching or friends of mine that watch, sometimes we feel like, wow, there's so much pressure to get married. And even like, you're in the show looking for someone, looking for love, and then there's Monica, and I feel like we hurt for her because we're watching her feel so down on herself. And it's a little bit different for you. It's like this freedom, and you're on the you're looking. I was gonna say on the
Yeah.
hunt. And then
Yeah, that's fair.
and she's
I
like
am on the
feeling
hunt
this
still.
pressure. So can you
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that? Like Anisha just got married, and congratulations to her. Vishal, Amrit,
Definitely.
everybody. So how do you feel about
Mhm.
that?
No, you're spot on. There's an insane amount of pressure. Even though I'm, on the hunt, I still get shit every time, every wedding, even this event that I'm at in Atlanta. Oh, I hope you meet someone, and it's just like nonstop of maybe I'm a bit rebellious where I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to, not right, whatever it is. But especially, I think there's just a ton more pressure on women, in general. I think it's like, women in Indian culture, when you're growing up and you're in your teens, in your high school, even in college, it's like, you're not allowed to date. It's like kind of micromanaged. At least like some old school parents, like majority of parents are pretty much old school. Mine are, a bit different, but the majority is just you're not allowed to date. You're not allowed to, or you are allowed to date, but you be careful. Like you don't want to talk about it, right? It's very secretive. I even have cousins, and all my cousins, like I remember growing up, they're all secretive, right? Like no one's gonna tell their parents that they're dating, especially from a women's perspective. Then all of a sudden you turn like, your upper 20s. And it's like, where's your husband? It's time to get married. What have you been doing for the past 10 years? You're like, you told me I can't date anyone. You locked me in this house. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
in a jail cell again. So that part is like very frustrating and annoying to watch family members and then my friends from this group, go through. But there's just an immense amount of pressure. I mean, I'm sure I haven't even asked you, are you married, relation? No.
No, I'm single. I mean, thank God my parents, they're also relatively young and they don't pressure me. But I feel like that pressure from like the media, from friends, from other family members. I feel like
Oh
women
yeah.
in this culture, you're like, am I enough? Like what I'm doing with my
Yes.
career and in that sense. So I think that's why when a lot of us, when we watch Monica, we're like, oh, girl, like we're watching the TV and we're like, you are so much more than this
Right.
scenario.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're so right. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, guys, we kind of get a bit of a hall pass when it comes to that. We're not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm getting a ton of pressure nowadays. I'm 31, so it's like my dad's like, listen, by the end of this year, if you're not locking something down, I'm arranging your ass and I'm setting it up. Like you don't have a say in it. But I mean, Monica, of course, I feel for her. She's a very near and dear best friend to me, and she's always been there for me forever. Love Rishi too, great guy. It's just I'm like, damn. I know how bad she wants it, but at the same time, it has to be right. It has to be mutual. It has to be, I guess I hate saying this, but like perfect timing. It has to
Yeah.
be. It's never the right time, but I guess when two things come together and they work, you just gotta lay it down and say this works. So I know how bad she wants it. I feel for her. I hope it does happen for her very soon. But yeah, it's just so much pressure. It's so
It
much
is.
pressure. But I
Yeah.
think I think at the end of the day, like you said, if you're doing your thing and you're happy and you're continuing to progress and evolve and grow, and who gives a shit when you get married like that.
I know. And then talking about relationships, so I did mention like we can get a little messy because I watched Watch What Happens Live after the finale, and Vishal and Amrit, there were like I felt a little tension, and then they asked Vishal how his relationship is with you, and so where do you stand with? I would say Vishal, Amrit, and even Nicholas, who called you a busybody on the Holy episode. How are
Yeah.
things with you guys?
There's a rift. I'll be honest. As much as I'm a very kumbaya type of guy. I don't have time for drama. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit for drama. It's like I got too much going on. I'm sure you're busy. Why would you want to beef with your friends? And and there was never any drama between us, and it just started with the mom drama, right? But for me, and I'll say it openly, if someone is nice to me, I'm nice to them, right? I treat people how they treat me a lot of times. Instead of treating people how they want to be treated, I also treat people how they treat me. So Vishal's mom has always been sweet to me, so I'm sweet to her. My mom has been nothing but sweet and loving towards Vishal and Amrit. So in my opinion, you should be sweet to my mom. When I start seeing shit on social media and Twitter and them chirping a bit, it doesn't go well with me, you know. And I was always raised to respect my elders, respect my aunties, and respect people in general. And it's something between the moms, you know. You don't get involved, and if you want to get involved, then say it to my face.
Yeah.
Don't go on don't go on podcasts. Don't go on Andy Cohen. Don't go on all these social media outlets and play games. I've I have receipts. I've texted. I've called. I've tried to broker relationships. I've tried to reach out, even though I shouldn't really even be doing that because I'm not the one on social media talking all this smack. But you know, at the end of the day, there's still a lot of love there. I love Vishal. He's a good kid. I love actually Amrit and I have spoken. Amrit, you know, we had a great conversation. He's apologized for some things. I kind of apologize for maybe some things that I may or may not have done, whatever, with the busybody and all that shit. I was drunk. It was holy. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? It's not even that deep. I always like to remind people it's not that deep. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, we're not, I don't know, dealing with some dramatic issue here. It's like small
Yeah.
talk.
I love how
So,
Nicholas's like way of shading you is calling you a busybody. He's so sweet. Like that was his version of like shade. It was really sweet.
yeah, Nicholas and Umar, they're sweethearts. You know, it's like I was like, damn, that's the meanest thing you have to say to me. You're so kind. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I actually, to be honest, I still don't know what a busybody is, but whatever. I guess that means what does that mean? I just talk a lot.
It's like it's kind of what you were doing in the scene. It's kind of just like someone who's in the mix, you know, but it was fine. I mean, the show, you know, you're making a show here, so I mean,
Yeah,
I was fine.
and
I was Team
that's
Brian, but I do love
I appreciate
Nicholas and
it.
Amrit. And
Yeah,
also, you know, just for the record, we're Team Dharma Auntie over here as well. I think she tried really hard, you know, to keep the peace. And honestly, I really hope that it all comes back together because I think with Family Karma and your cast, like there can be these little rifts, but you guys, I think that's why it's enjoyable for so many people to watch. You guys always come back together. You're real life friends and you know, so I really do hope you guys can resolve it. It is hard, like even in families, like, you know, I think brown families, Indian families,
yeah,
Indo-Caribbean families,
within the own family.
there's a lot that goes on, whether it's between parents or kids, and you have to try to keep it separate. And sometimes you can't. So I really hope you guys can resolve it.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe I'm venting a little, but it's Amrit and I we're good. Vishal and I we text. We've texted. You know, we just haven't gotten a chance to really hang out. We've all been very busy, you know, and I'll say that too. Like, you know, we all haven't been in the same state for longer than a couple days, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, in my mind, I know we'll come back together. Like I said, I got too much love for those two boys that like you know that like it's unable to find a way to resolve it. I know we'll resolve it. It's just about sitting down and talking about it, and you know just making sure that we can move forward as friends. So no, I love the kids to death, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff has changed over the past year.
Yeah, and I think the housewives, they always kind of talk about this phenomenon as like you're filming the show, then you're watching the show, and then you're seeing the social media comments. It kind of makes it hard for things to end up resolved. So I think with a little bit of time, you'll get there. And that kind
Exactly.
of brings
I
me to my next question. Does
Oh,
Family
great
Karma
segue.
need, yeah, does Family Karma need a reunion?
Oh hell yeah, we need a reunion. I mean, you just heard a small sliver of it from me, and I mean, I think it would actually just be great for us as a friend group, to be honest, to like sit everybody down and make everyone talk about their shit. I think
Yeah.
that would just be good for us as friends. It's like therapy. But no, I mean, I wish we had a reunion. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna have one. But you know, hopefully, you know, next season or something like that, we'll get another reunion or get a chance. But yeah, we deserve a reunion for sure.
Yeah, I think you guys do. I mean, the good thing is the conflict that you guys have, I said, it's always seems to get resolved. You know, Monica and Anisha resolved their issues. So
Hmm.
reunions are very famous for like kind of exploding and more drama. But I'm just thinking like set design. outfits. Like it would be really truly a production. It would be nice. So hopefully season 4 Family Karma reunion.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, no, it to your point, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it would be like a Bollywood movie, everyone's all, glammed out, repping. It would be really cool. So yeah, fingers crossed, definitely.
And also wanted to ask you, I mean, we talked a little bit about like the Joe Gorga of it all, but other Bravo celebrities, I heard a couple people saying like, oh, Brian should be on Summer House. And what about Sierra Miller and Ashley Darby and you're friends with Luke? So how are some of your relationships? Would you ever go on Summer House? Would you ever pay a visit to the Hamptons? Like, what's going on? What is happening? Why are you laughing? Tell
Um,
me.
you said some interesting names. I was like, shit, you know some stuff. Um, no, I love that. To be honest, that at BravoCon, that's like the group that I gravitated towards. So, Truly Original, who's our production company, they did Summer House, Winter House, Real Housewives of Potomac, and other shows like that. So this was back in 2019, 2018. We had our season one, and that's when I met Paige, Kyle from Summer House, Lindsay, Luke. Briefly met Carl that night, and we were all, and that was our season one was in the edits, like almost ready to come out. But their season three of Summer House, I think it was season three, had just came out, and we were all. That's when I first met them. So it was back then. We had a great time, and then throughout the years, we've just always stayed close. Whenever I go to New York, I hit up somebody, whether it's Luke, Kyle, Jason, Carl, the whole gang.
Yeah.
And over time, we've just, even at BravoCon, it was just every time I would go to a party, I would go with them, the Summer House gang or the Winter House gang or, the mix of the two. And that's just the group that I've always gravitated towards. So they've always been very cool to me. We always have a great time together. We party. We have a lot of fun. I like to party. So, they're right up
Okay.
my alley.
So we should see
But
you for a weekend. There should be a guest appearance this summer. Is you're
I'd
with
be, I'd
us.
be honored. I'd be honored. I'm
That would be really
manifesting.
cool.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
manifesting.
Crossovers. Like the key to Bravo success, clearly, especially for the Summer House gang, is like crossovers.
Hell
I think
yeah,
that would be
for
really
sure.
cool. Or Family
I love
Karma, like in other cities, like Family
Mm,
Karma New York, like how they do Bling Empire in other cities. I mean,
let's
someone at production, call me.
I like how your mind operates. You're thinking like a true production company. Yes,
it's
that'd
all
be
the
very cool.
TV.
It's great. It's great.
We're kind of
Yeah.
winding down. I have a few fun questions I want to ask you. They're Guyanese tailored questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What is your favorite Guyanese food or treat besides pumpkin?
Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. You ever had stewed chicken?
Yeah.
I like the one my mom makes it because like it's a little bit more. We call it gravy, just like a little bit more because I like to drench my roti in a bunch of gravy and like just like instead of putting in dal, I like to use the curry gravy and mash it up. But I
Me
love chicken
too.
curry stewed chicken. Yeah, chicken curry stewed chicken are my top two. Um, I love baigan. I love baigan. Any aloo curry, baigan curry. I love my choka. Yeah, but from a vegetarian standpoint, I'll go baigan. From a meat standpoint, I'll go chicken curry, and then you got to cook it right, but go curry. But it
Yeah.
has to be. I don't like the gaminess of it, so a little, pressurized.
Yeah.
Get the
Okay.
gamey.
Wow. You're really like in the technical like weeds of it. I love that.
I love,
Okay.
I love, I love Chinese food. Yeah.
Favorite chutney song
Damn,
or artist, I guess.
Terry Gajraj, old school. I'm old school.
Classic.
Shout out Terry Gajraj. Yeah, I love all his music.
Okay. And favorite soca song or artist that you're listening to?
Masha Montano.
Okay.
Destra.
And
I'm old
yeah,
school.
yeah, I know the older stuff. And favorite Bollywood movie. That's the last one.
Damn, this one's hard too. I was just debating this the other day. I know the whole Mohabbat soundtrack, and there's a lot of moments in that movie I like, but damn, I'll give it to Kabhi Kushi Kabhi Gum. That one
Oh,
that
yeah,
one hits
that's a
my
good one.
nerves because when I watch the scenes of like him and his brother, it's like you watched it when you were a kid and you're like, why am I crying? And then you watch it now and you're like, damn, I get a lot of it. It
Still crying.
resonates.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, now I can't even like I need like 20 tissues. Yeah.
I know. We saw you at the wedding, which was really endearing. We were all crying. It's okay.
Real men cry. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's all the questions I have for you. You gave us a lot of tea, a little bit of an exclusive. I didn't ask you
No.
about the dishes. I think we're good.
I'm getting better, but no, it's been a pleasure. Definitely happy to always, represent for Guyanese culture and just represent for, Indian culture in general. So really appreciate you having me on. And no, this has been a blast, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.